Good day, everyone.
I was born and raised in Detroit. Growing up there, I saw people like me running things.
This is a courtroom, not a circus, so we're gonna calm down.
I'm sorry.
What I found there was a passion that I didn't know existed.
This is the bottom line.
I'm excited to free fall into the limitless possibilities with we the people. So many are fearful of the law. They think it's something that works against them.
I think you need to begin to accept responsibility for your mistakes.
We are the people.
Stella Williams claims her landlord refused to return her security deposit or reimburse her for installing a smart lock.
All rise.
Daniel Price says the plaintiff dyed art projects in the kitchen sink and the stains couldn't be removed.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello. Good day, everyone. Good day. Hello, Your Honor. This is the case of Williams versus Price. Ms. Williams, you are suing Mr. Price for $4,250, the return of your security deposit. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You say that the defendant kept your security deposit and refused to reimburse you for a smart lock system. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Mr. Price, you say you don't owe the plaintiff her security deposit back, and the door lock was unauthorized.
That is correct.
All right, take me to how this began. You were a tenant in one of Mr. Price's buildings?
Yes.
Okay, tell the court what happened.
I rented a studio apartment there, and the door lock that was there was faulty, so I purchased the $250 electronic door lock. I installed it, and he knew, and he gave me a yes to go ahead and do that, and would he reimburse me if I ever moved out? Yeah.
Okay, so you rented from him. How long did you stay there?
1 year and 3 months.
Okay, and do you have a copy of the lease?
I do.
So, Mr. Price, you rented a studio apartment to Miss Williams.
Yes.
She stayed over a year, and something was going on with the lock. She installed this security lock. Do you remember this?
Yes.
All right. And can you tell the court, Miss Williams, when you decided to vacate, why you were told your security deposit was being withheld?
The kitchen sink, which was faulty when I moved in and needed fixing several times, he said it was stained beyond repair, which is not true, and that he would get a new one, but I don't see how a new sink should cost a kitchen sink $1,700 plus $300 for some other stuff. He never gave me an itemized tally.
For this apartment?
For the repairs that he supposedly was making to the apartment after I moved out.
So, Mr. Price, I want you to jump in here because you're the landlord. You say her security deposit was withheld and you don't owe her anything. So you must have the specific issues that were wrong with the place that would warrant you keeping it. Where is that? I mean, I see the lease agreement, security deposit of $2,000.
Yes, that's correct.
Apartment needed to be returned in good condition, of course.
Yes, and that's where we started to have a disagreement here because she left the apartment in disarray.
Disarray how?
She is an artist. She likes to sculpt, she likes to dye, she likes to do a whole lot of things like that. And she was dyeing shirts and other fabrics in her kitchen sink. And
do you have proof of that damage?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. I have it all
please?
right here for you. Of course. She left it blue. My maintenance worker and I went up there. We tried to scrub it out ourselves, and we could not. So we ended up having to replace the entire sink. And then we also had to pay for the labor as well.
Is this from your dyeing process?
The dye did stain the sink, but the rest of the photos there, that is not how I left the apartment. I left it clean.
This is what you call in disarray?
Yes. Yes, that is just one of the rooms.
You call this disarray?
Well, as you can see, she left trash there on the floor. And
does that look like disarray to you all, gallery? Okay, so we've got removal of the old sink. Why couldn't you just use the old faucet?
The entire unit had to be replaced, Your Honor.
Why? Is the faucet connected to?
Yes, everything was
sink?
all together. It was one singular unit, and the unit itself is very expensive. It's the same sink that we have installed in all of our units.
You're saying $4,250 is owed back to you, Ms. Williams. Why so much when your security deposit was $2,000 and the lock was $250? Where's the other $2,000 come from?
I should have been returned the money 21 days after moving out, and it's been months.
Coming up,
This luxury sink for $1,200. I don't see that.
Well, it's a very expensive sink, Your Honor. We seek to have nothing but the best here.
and later,
He told me that it was registered. I went to the DMV to change the registration and was told I could not register it because there were unpaid registration fees.
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Emmy-nominated We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. We're back with the case of Stella Williams, who brought Daniel Price to court over a security deposit.
Why don't I see damage totals that total $2,000 worth of damages? I just have one damage invoice for the sink for $400.
So there's the invoice for the labor, and there should also be the invoice for the kitchen sink there as well. And then the $300 that was left went towards cleaning up the rest of the apartment. What she is failing to communicate here is that we actually used to date at one point.
Okay, and what does that have to do with the sink or this list?
I firmly believe that it was in retaliation because she ended up breaking things off with me, and I set a boundary as her landlord.
Oh, all right. This luxury sink for $1,200. I don't see that when I'm looking at that sink.
Well, it's a very expensive sink, Your Honor. We seek to have nothing but the best here.
I'm looking at this sink and I'm saying, well, you're not charging for the damage it would cause to pull that sink out. You're gonna lose this countertop. When you go to buy this a sink, then this is the countertop. If you pull this sink out, you're breaking, I don't know what this is. Is this a quartz or is this, what is this?
I'm truthfully not too sure.
You all making me feel like y'all clean this dye out this sink and you just charging her for a new one. Because the security deposit return, it's not itemized the way it should be when you are withholding a security deposit. Like, it needs to be itemized to be legitimate.
Everything that was itemized was emailed over to her.
Removal
as well as
of the old sink and the faucet, a new kitchen sink, installation of a new faucet, plumbing connection and leak testing, materials and sealant. Why are your records so poor? You're showing me the services from your maintenance office. You're showing me an invoice for a sink. And let's be honest, if you own a unit that has multiple units, how am I supposed to know this isn't just a receipt from another sink that goes in another unit?
and I have the evidence that I have presented to you.
Where's the move-out report? Where's the punch list? This is raggedy.
I do not have that
You're talking to me about
provided.
standards, but your whole move-out process is raggedy. How can I say you lawfully kept her deposit?
Because I presented evidence stating
No, you
that
didn't.
she...
You didn't present evidence totaling that much.
Okay.
You just presented one sink, which doesn't make any sense.
And the pictures of the bathroom and the kitchen and everything
There's
else
nothing
that's
wrong with the
there.
bathroom. It just needed to be cleaned.
And Your Honor, this is also, like I stated before, in retaliation here.
Okay, this
because
is what I
she-
don't like. I heard that. I heard that. This is what I don't like. Your move-out process is void of organization, itemization. Like, it's poorly done. It's really negligent. You have to be, when you keep somebody's money, you have to be able to show them definitively why, and that has to add up.
Yes, Your Honor. And we spoke about that verbally, and that ended up leading to disaster when she thought that I was cheating on her. because she thought that we were still in a relationship.
What? How did we get to this? So what are y'all worried about, the security deposit or the relationship?
The security deposit.
She's worried about the relationship, Your Honor.
All right, I'm done listening. The security deposit was $2,000.
That is correct.
And you got the lock system, right?
Correct.
So minimum, she was supposed to get back $2,250 if there was no damage.
That is correct.
I will say this, if you left dye in the sink, Miss Williams, that is difficult to remove, a blue dye. Someone would have to pay maybe an elevated cleaning service to be able to do that, and maybe even potentially get a new sink. We don't know what he did because he only has an invoice for a random sink and no itemized list of what he would have done to cure the damages. So for that reason, I'm gonna rule for the plaintiff. For half of the amount, this court is going to award you $2,125. And that's because your practices were raggedy, Mr. Price. You didn't return the deposit in a timely manner. And then when you get in court and have the opportunity to present the evidence, you're more worried about her getting back to you in a social relationship versus having the receipts that really show and walk through why you were withholding a deposit. Judgment for the plaintiff for $2,125. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $2,125.
Do you have any final thoughts for each other?
Glad this is over.
All right, follow me out this way, please.
Coming up,
What was your response, Mr. Tierman?
I didn't respond. I didn't think I should. I received the release of liability from the DMV. Under California law, that scooter is no longer my responsibility. And so I didn't feel the need to respond. And also, not only that, she waited 5 months to respond to me.
you're watching Emmy-nominated We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. Rachel Stevenson claims she bought a scooter from the defendant, then learned the registration had expired and she owed late fees. Joe Tierman says he told the plaintiff the scooter was sold as is and was not operational.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Stevenson versus Tierman. Ms. Stevenson, you are suing Mr. Tierman for $1,300 for breach of contract. You say the scooter you bought has an expired registration and expensive late fees. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant, you say it was sold as is and you don't owe her anything.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, tell me about this scooter, Ms. Stevenson. What kind of scooter is this?
It's a super cute blue buddy scooter. I'd wanted one for a really long time, but my ex-husband wouldn't let me get one. And after the divorce, this was the thing that I was looking for.
Do you have a picture of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see it, please.
Of course.
Thank you, Sean. All right, so you always wanted a scooter.
Yes.
Oh, okay, it's cute.
So after the divorce, I'd set aside a little bit of money. I was trying to find one that was affordable. $1,300 seemed like a really good deal. So I reached out to Mr. Tierman to come see it. Unfortunately, I had torn my meniscus, had to have surgery on my knee, and could not drive. So I had a friend drive me over.
Okay.
I couldn't test drive it, so I asked Mr. Tierman to drive it so that I could see that it was operational. He did, great. I asked him to deliver it to my home. He said he would, but he needed a cash deposit. No problem, I gave him $200 cash. So
you're over there and you tell Mr. Tierman, you drive it, let me make sure it's working,
yes, Your Honor.
and then drive it to my house.
I asked him to deliver it, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And
And-
did he deliver it?
Yes, he did.
Coming up,
So what happens after you get the scooter?
Finally, my knee is in shape, I can drive it.
How long is finally?
At 5 months after the purchase.
you're watching Emmy-nominated We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. We're back with a dispute between Rachel Stevenson and Joe Tierman over a scooter purchase.
When he delivered it, Ms. Stevenson, you gave him the balance? That would be
It would be
$1,100.
$1,100 in cash, yes.
In cash?
Yes, ma'am.
What about the title and all of that?
Yes, we got the title taken care of at her place. I had registered it as non-operational. I found no reason to really use it, so I kept it in my garage.
Yeah.
And up until the point of sale, it had just been sitting there. And so the reason I was saying in the ad, I'm selling it as is because it was non-operational, which I told her as soon as she came to my house.
And did he tell you that the scooter was registered as non-operational at the time?
He did, Your Honor. In my folder, there is a copy of the ad. I don't think the verbiage as is in that ad.
Okay.
I don't really see as is either.
It doesn't say as is on
No,
your
it
ad.
doesn't.
But you're saying this is something that was communicated between the two of you.
Yes, when she showed up, I told her.
And so you say he didn't tell you as is.
Your Honor, he told me that he didn't never use the phrase as is. He told me that it was registered as non-operational.
As non-operational.
Yes.
And you said, okay. So what happens after you get the scooter?
I was still recovering from knee surgery. I couldn't drive it right away, even if it had been registered as operational. Finally, my knee is in shape. I can drive it.
How long is finally?
5 months after the purchase. So,
5 months after.
So it took about 5 months for my doctor to clear me to be able to drive. I went to the DMV to change the registration and was told I could not register it because there were unpaid registration fees, fines, and interest, and the clerk estimated between $800 and $900.
Wow. And so then you did what?
So then I reached out via text to ask Joe to pay what he owed.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns. You're watching Emmy-nominated We the People with Judge Lauren Lake.
What was your response, Mr. Tierman?
I didn't respond. I didn't think I should. I received the release of liability from the DMV. Under California law, that scooter is no longer my responsibility. I thought it was odd how someone would purchase a vehicle without test driving it themselves, knee surgery or not.
Why were you in such a rush?
Because it was exactly the one that I wanted at exactly the price point that I could afford. There was no reason for me to think that he was also dumping this other debt that he didn't pay on me as well.
It seems pretty unfair.
Yes, ma'am.
You're not the first person nor the last person to make an impulse buy. But the reason why they call it an impulse buy is because you don't think it through. It's obvious to me, once you got the scooter, then 5 months go by before you can really pay any attention to it. And then you go to register it and realize it has all these fees attached to it. I hate that you're in this position, but unfortunately, this court cannot help you. The judgment is for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
I'd like to say I do feel a little empathy towards you, but the law is the law, and I can't change that.
I hope you grow up and just fulfill your obligations next time instead of not paying registration for years and then pawning it off into somebody else.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.